All right, this video is about how you take all this prep work you did using the Prepare to Prove You Can Do the Job workbook and actually turn it into a resume. So I'm assuming that at this point you have found the job that you want to apply for. You've gone over the requirements for that job and highlighted keywords, and you looked at your Padman to figure out how you're going to meet the employer's needs, and you've created your cart stories and all of these wonderful pieces to this document. So now we want to take this and actually make a resume. So the first thing I want to think about is, what are my strongest qualifications for the job? So for Emma B, she wants to be a camp counselor. And by looking at her Prepare to Prove You Can Do the Job workbook, her best qualification is the fact that she was a volunteer leader at a summer camp for 3 summers. So we want to make that very prominent to show the employer that she meets their needs. So we've got these facts, the story, credible references. We want to make that really big. So that's going to be her volunteer experience. Another important thing is going to be her education and her other work experience and her skills. So we're going to want to incorporate all of those things into the resume. Now, I often, when I start a resume, will look at some resumes other people did to try to get some ideas. So I definitely recommend you taking a look at the PDF resume examples, and you can see some different examples of resumes. Like you'll notice here, they've got the name and information, target, they have a little summary, education and certificates or certifications, additional experience. Here's another one, target, tax internship. So you can see a resume can look pretty different from each other and focus on different things. So this person, she's focusing on her education, her professional experience. Here's another one. This one is from a recent student, leader, student, athlete. She's got these 3 statements as her summary. She goes right into her leadership experience. And actually, a lot of these look like they're volunteer positions. But wow, doesn't she look like she's got a lot of experience, leadership positions and honors? So I like to look at some different examples to kind of inspire me before I make a resume. So I'm going to use actually this one by Vanessa King a little bit as a guide as I make my resume for Emma B. You, of course, are going to make your resume for yourself. Another great resource that you can use is this Winning Resume Design Checklist. I'm not going to read it all to you right now, but it has really great tips on how to make a beautiful resume. And I like it even gives examples of different fonts that you can use. I like to use the serif more for headlines and the sans serif more for bullet points and longer sentences, because sans serif is easier to read. So I'm going to use Cambria for my headings, and I'm going to use Calibri for my the body of my resume. This also gives you some ideas of what the smallest font is that you would want to use with each of these. You could always use a slightly bigger font if that better serves your resume. Here I have my Word document. Now, first off, I am not going to put anything in the header. Why? Because a lot of businesses use a computer-based applicant tracking system where you fill out the application online and submit your resume. And some of the companies will actually use that applicant tracking system to determine if you are qualified enough that they want a real person to read your resume. And many of those systems cannot read anything that's in the header. So if you use the header, you could be missing out. So it's much better to write everything in the body of your document. So I'm going to start with Emma's name, and I'm going to write her contact info. And now I'm going to switch this up so it's the font that I like. Make it a little bigger. All right, so I like the look of a line. And you want to be careful because some lines are not very stable. Another thing we learn from that PDF with all the tips on it is that if you make your resume into a PDF, the applicant tracking system might not be able to read your resume. So you don't want to turn it into a PDF. So that means you need to use stable design functions. Like something like this is not very stable. It's much better to use borders. So I'm just going to highlight this area, and then do you see this little grid? This can make different borders for me. So I'm just going to do bottom border. I can also make it a little thicker if I want. That's very thick. And I can even change the color of it if I want. I'm going to leave it black for now. All right, so now I have a nice little heading. I'm going to get rid of the spaces. So you can see this is a really great way to thicken the line. There we go. Oh, that's very thick. Okay, that's a little bit better. And you can play around with this. The most important thing at the beginning is not the formatting, it is the content. So Emma B has a few different things that I want to highlight. I liked that kind of professional profile from the resume example here, leader, student, athlete. So I'm going to do something like this for Emma B. I'm just going to put aspiring cabin leader because I know that's the job that she wants. And then I'm going to come up with 3 sentences here to kind of be her summary. So I'm going to fast forward while I do that. All right, so here I've got Emma B. I actually deleted the line I had before and I put a new line around aspiring cabin leader. And then I came up with these 3 sentences. So where did I get these sentences? Well, I knew that I wanted to prove that Emma would be a good fit for this job when it comes to her values, when it comes to her motivation and her dependability. So you can see enthusiastic leader, driven to help students feel valued and included, devoted to helping students learn self-confidence, teamwork, and respect, committed to promoting science literacy and environmental sustainability. So where did I get this? Well, let's go back to the job description. So right here, you can see that I got these right from the job description. And I actually looked here in the mission statement. Leadership, kindness, inclusivity, foster teamwork and self-confidence, sustain personal improvements, new skills, encourage respect, endorse environmental awareness and stewardship to create science literacy. So you can see when you look at what they want, and then you look at what I chose for the top, you can see help students feel valued and included, help them learn self-confidence, teamwork, and respect, science literacy, environmental sustainability. So I didn't just copy and paste what was in their description, but I used it to come up with something that was true for Emma. These are true things about her, and will communicate right away that she is the person they need. She has the same values they have. She is motivated to do a great job. So now that I have these headings, or this summary, I'm going to start with the headings. So, and I just made this italicized. I think maybe because I was copying that other resume that was already made. All right, so we've got Cambria here. And I think the next thing I'm going to do is relevant experience. So I have relevant experience. I'm going to get a little space in here, so there's some room. And with this one, I want to have a little more contrast. So I'm going to use this paint bucket. First, I'm going to change this font color to white. And now I'm going to use the bucket. And doesn't that look nice? I'm going to make the heading a little bigger too. I picked a slightly different font. And let's make it a little bit smaller. All right, so relevant experience. So now I'm going to put the information about the science camp job. So it's front and center. So I'm going to skip ahead and come up with some sentences, and I'll show you what I did. All right, so I put relevant experience here, partly because this is not the most recent experience Emma has had. This is something she did in high school. Since high school, she's taken a couple other jobs. But this is really, really relevant experience, and I want them to think right away, this girl is the perfect person to be a cabin leader. I put the name of the organization here, various leadership roles with the years. Then here I gave a little description of what that organization is. You may do something similar, or you might put your job duties here. There's lots of ways to use this. So Camp Lokina is a girls' camp for campers aged 12 to 14. It's a week-long camp run by volunteers to teach first aid, survival skills, and appreciation for the environment. So already we're focused on the most important stuff that is relevant to the employer. And here you can see she was a certification leader, she was a cabin leader, she was a leader in training. And these little bullet points come straight from, I mean, not word for word, but they're all based on that prove you can do the job, where we wrote in some information about the cabin leader position, the certification leader position, etc. All right, so the next area we're going to do for this one is education. I'll make sure that's there. Fix the font. And I'm going to put it in the middle. And I'm going to go ahead and add in her education information. I'm going to skip ahead. All right, so now I have her education in here. I put the associate degree she's planning to earn, what her expected graduation date is. I put in a few details. She's president of the film club. She's on the dean's list. I also put that she has a high school diploma. So next area that I'm going to do will be her formal work experience. So I'm going to shade this in again. And I can see I've run out of room. So there's a couple things I can do. One that I like to do is I like to change the layout a little, and I like to do narrow margins. So everything moved up, so I've got more space now. I'm going to make sure that I don't have the automatic spaces. So that saved me a little bit of space as well. I'm going to do that up here too. All right, and I'm going to go ahead and add in her work experience next. All right, so I've added her work experience. I have a little more room, so I think I'm going to make a little space. So there's a little space there. Okay, that looks nice. And for this person, a one-page resume is fine. It's fine. If she had more work experience, I think a two-page resume would be good. But she really just has a beginning level of work experience. Here you can see her actual jobs. She worked as a barista in a bookstore cafe. She also worked as a server in a frozen yogurt shop. These work experiences are great and they help show that she is a good worker, can show up to work, follow directions, etc. But it's not that relevant to the job she's applying for. So that's why we put this up higher. Now, if she was applying for a job in a restaurant, we would definitely want to move this work experience up and give more detailed information about the work experience. And you can see everything on here is very correct and honest. She's not pretending that she worked here and got paid. She makes it clear these are volunteer positions. And so we've got a very nice looking resume now. Another fun thing you can do if you want is you can, put in color. So she's interviewing at like a camp. So, green could be a good color. I would not do more than one color though. And you really don't even need color, but it can be fun. Oops. To have some color. I don't know what I did, but I'll fix it. Okay, there we go. And I can even make my little bars have a color. But I have to click on this again, and now it will change it. And there you go. Now I have this very pretty resume. Of course, it can take some time to figure out exactly how you're going to write the details, but I hope this can help you.